Yes, exactly. Thank you. Everyone needs entomology in their lives. I know people are busy, but I can't overestimate enough the importance of this channel. Wait, am I saying that right? Wasps of the genus Vespula are distributed widely across the northern hemisphere. There are about 26 species worldwide and 13 species in North America. Commonly called yellow jackets, these wasps typically make underground nests with many workers. In this video, we will take a closer look at 4 North American species from the Vulgaris group. Vespula germanica is newly introduced into North America. Vespula pensylvanica is native to western North America. Vespula alascensis is transcontinental, and Vespula maculifrons is found only in the east. Members of the Vulgaris group are omnivorous scavengers that will take a variety of food. These are the wasps that not only become aggressive defending their nests, but also as they move about on foraging runs. They are attracted to the odors given off by outdoor dining, sugary drinks, and most types of food refuse. If you've had a negative interaction with a wasp, it was quite likely one of these. The story of Vespula in North America begins in 1793, Kiel, Germany, where Johann Fabricius published his Entomologia Systematica. In it, he described a black and yellow wasp he named Vespa germanica. Vespula germanica is native to Europe and parts of Asia. This is the queen. Germanica was introduced into the northeastern United States in the 1970s. Since then, it has spread to many parts of the world and is now found on all continents. It prefers to nest in structures like basement walls and attics. This is a worker. It is smaller than the queen. Workers are responsible for nest construction, foraging, and rearing of offspring. Basically every task except egg laying. Germanica queens are larger than worker honeybees, while Germanica workers are roughly the same size. Worker size, however, can vary. Queens range between 14 and 16 millimeters, while workers tend to average around 12. 64 years after Fabricius, in 1857, the Swiss entomologist Henri de Saussure, working in Geneva, wrote comments on the genus Vespa, especially about the American species. Here, Saussure described an American wasp he named pensylvanica. Vespula pensylvanica is native to western North America. This is the queen. Vespula queens are stout and are mostly encountered in early spring when they fly about looking for suitable nest sites. This is a worker. Pensylvanica workers are similar to Germanica workers, but with more yellow on their heads and antennae. "12 years after Saussure, Carl Gustav Thomson, working at Lund University in Sweden, was the first to split Vespa, the original wasp genus of Linnaeus, into the large-headed Vespa crabro and the smaller-headed Vespula. 1 year later, in 1870, Alpheus Spring Packard, examining material collected in Alaska by William Healy Dahl, described Vespa alascensis, a wasp that would soon after become just a synonym for Vespula vulgaris, the common European wasp, which was believed to be holarctic. So Packard's name was buried in obscurity for 140 years. Until 2010, when James Carpenter and Travis Glare demonstrated that the North American wasp was distinct from vulgaris in Europe, and since Packard's description was the oldest synonym, it had priority as the wasp's new official name. Vespula alascensis means Alaskan yellowjacket. Alascensis is a northern-ranging wasp for sure. This is the queen, and like the other Vespula queens, she is sturdy and has all the egg-laying responsibilities of the colony. Workers of alascensis, like all Vespula workers, are smaller and sleeker than queens. The workers build the subterranean nest, forage for the colony, and care for the brood. 35 years after Packard, in 1905, Robert du Buysson, working in Paris, described our fourth species, Vespa maculifrons. Vespula maculifrons is an eastern species, and like all Vespula queens, she must do all of the initial work: locating a suitable nesting site, initiating the comb, laying the first brood of eggs, and foraging to feed the first workers. Workers eventually take over most tasks. The name maculifrons refers to the yellow on the front of the head, but this is not unique to maculifrons. The yellow markings of its first abdominal tergite are its revealing characteristic. For the purpose of species determination, Roger Acker's 1981 Agricultural Handbook No. 552, The Yellow Jackets of America North of Mexico, is a great place to start. It has great illustrations and a very easy-to-use key to species. Only partially out of date, this is still a great resource. 27 years after Acker, in 2008, Matthias Buck from the University of Guelph in Ontario created the Identification Atlas of the Vespidae of the northeastern Nearctic region. It was very comprehensive in its treatment despite its regional coverage, and lavish in its macro photography. Even if your specimens come from the west, this is still worth a look. Only 4 years later, in 2012, Lynn Kimsey from the University of California, Davis and James Carpenter from the American Museum of Natural History published The Vespidae of North America. This work uses all updated names and provides a new and comprehensive key. As always, range maps are a good place to start. Vespula germanica is the introduced species, so it is currently expanding its range. Vespula pensylvanica is native to the west, Vespula maculifrons is native to the east, and alascensis can be found across most of the continent and extends far to the north. As far as length goes, the queens are quite large, considerably larger than a worker honeybee, ranging from about 16 to 20 millimeters. Workers are smaller than queens and are much more commonly encountered. The introduced germanica is larger than the 3 indigenous species, but worker size varies. Facial markings are not very reliable as species determiners, but some clues are worth noting. In this image, queens are on the top row and workers below. Notice alascensis has a considerably broader black marking on its clypeus than the yellow asclepias found on pensylvanica. Pensylvanica also sports yellow on its scape. For more reliable species-specific markings, we can turn to the coloration of the first abdominal tergite. Looking at the dark object created by the yellow on each side, we see alascensis has an arrow-shaped marking. Pensylvanica has a diamond-shaped marking, and maculifrons has an object authors describe as anchor-shaped. Another dead giveaway for pensylvanica is its yellow encircled eyes. None of the other species have this feature. Another feature worth looking at is the color of the genna, which is the side of the head. The genna on most species is completely yellow, while the mark on the genna of alascensis is usually interrupted.
Well, that should get you started. Good luck.
As always, a special thanks go to the internet resources that make these videos possible, including the Biodiversity Heritage Library, Discover Life, and Iowa State University's Bug Guide. Look for them online.
Yeah, no. I can't underestimate the importance of this channel. That's it. That's right. Woo! Ooh, that was close.